Welcome back to Those Are My Thoughts podcast, where we share our thoughts on popular fantasy reads. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jillian, and this is our Onyx Storm reactions episode. You guys, we are finished with Onyx Storm, and we are alive. We made it out. We're here.
Are we functioning?
That is the question. I knew it was going to be painful, but I don't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
It was fun. We'll get into it. Welcome to this episode about the Onyx Storm reactions. We got it on release day. It took me a little bit to finish it. Sarah finished a couple of days ago. So here we are reacting to the entire book. So just a heads up before we start this episode, this is full spoilers for Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm. Anything Rebecca says in interviews or we see online, that all comes into play here too. So if you have not read this book or the Empyrean series at all, please go read that. And please do go read it because you need to. If you're listening to this and you haven't read it, what are you doing? It's 2025. Get on the train. But we're so excited. And before we get started, we launched the podcast this week. It has been so beautiful to see all the incredible messages come through from all of our friends and family and new book friends who we have just met because of this. And it's been the sweetest week.
It has. You and I were talking yesterday, and we both shared the same sentiment of like, if nothing happens with this, we're having so much fun that it's like filling our cups. It's giving us life,
Yeah.
it's giving us fuel. And if something does happen with it, the only thing we want to happen is finding other people who are obsessed with these stories, and I want to talk to them. Literally this last month, because we went live on socials January 1st, but episodes became available yesterday,
Yes.
January 27th. Throughout this last month, the number of people, and you and I were already kind of reconnecting with people, that's why we started this, but the number of people that I have started talking to again, or brand new friends, or I'm at the pickleball courts with my husband and they're like, I love those books. Let's talk. It's been so magical.
It is. It always is the best. Like, you guys, like, I was at a doctor's appointment and my doctor was like, oh, is that Onyx Storm? And I was like, it is. And she was like, oh my gosh, I just got it on my Kindle. I'm reading it too. And I'm like, what? What is this? It's like,
Oh.
seriously, the great unifier of life. Like, you can be any person with any occupation, any age. And I swear to you, like, these books are seriously the great unifier. When people are like, what is that book? Oh, that dragon book. I'm like, try it. Come in. Come in. The water is warm. These books have been labeled smut.
I know.
I actually like couldn't disagree more, especially the world building, the magic systems, the character development, like all of it is so much more prevalent than any smutty scene that would even exist. And they could seriously do without. I'm glad she doesn't.
Let's get that right. We love it. However,
No, I need them, but they could do without and it wouldn't matter. And I think labeling these books as smut is just not a justice to how incredible the entire story, plot, magic system, character development is for the entire
it's
series.
still incredible creative work. It can't just get labeled with that one word, which degrades it. No,
Yeah.
it's still a job well done. It's excellent.
I am so excited. I hope you guys read along with us this year and you guys find new books you love. I know there's people who read this series and go like, what next? Or they say, we have to wait like years till the next book. And I go, don't worry, we'll be busy. We'll give you books to read. Like, not to worry, the TBRs are long. We have things to get through. So buckle in. We'll get to the next book, I promise. It'll come faster than you think. There have been no books that I've DNF'd so far.
What does that mean?
Did not finish.
I was really trying to figure out where fuck went in there.
But there's none that I like can't finish because it's so bad. I think they're all worth it to get through so far. So I'm excited for the rest of this year. So come along for the ride. I'm glad you're here.
Onyx Storm.
We're going to try to just talk through our feelings on this book, initial gut feelings, and some plot points and things like that from this book specifically. And then next episode, we are going to be going over our voice notes from the entire book that Sarah and I sent back and forth all week long, which were
Warning, there's new screaming voice notes, there's new crying voice notes. So
crying videos too. Not that you'll see those, but those were there.
mine's gonna be on social media, so go check that out.
So during that episode with the voice notes, we're going to go over our voice notes, which will be like rereading the book again. It's my favorite thing. And then we will be talking about fan theories and predictions for next book along with our ratings. So please join that episode as well. If you like this one, we're going over plot points in this one. That one's going to be some different content based on this book. We would love for you to listen to both. So if you're interested in fan theories, if you're interested in predictions or things like that, listen to the next episode and we'll see you there. I think this book surprised me. I don't know how you felt about it. I see it getting some like back and forth online, which is going to happen with any book when there's a lot of
Always.
hype around it. I'm focused on the story Rebecca is building. My perspective is that we are smack dab in the middle of this story. Of course, we're not reaching any sort of resolution. We're in the tense phase of this plot where it's not really going the way we want it to, but I also think that's exactly where it should be. There's so many open questions. She always leaves us on a cliffhanger. What surprised me about this book was one, how funny it was. I'm sorry. It was hilarious. I openly laughed multiple times in this book.
More than any other book in her series for
That's what
me.
I'm saying. And Taryn is always funny. Then you bring in Riddick Gamlin, and the whole thing just like, see you later. So good.
He was the star of this show. When you remember Onyx Storm, you are gonna remember Riddick Gamlin.
Halfway through this book, I was like, am I in love with Riddick instead of Xaden? Like,
Exactly. Exactly. I was like, wait. Priorities. Sorry. Sorry, Zayden.
loved how much I laughed in this book. I loved the world expansion is exactly what I needed out of this book. We got a lot of answers in this book. I think you felt satisfied with that as well. But like, there's a lot left open and unsaid, which there should be because we're only in book 3.
There should be. I just think we had just finished our rereads, so you and I were fresh with the questions we had, and that probably it helped, but it probably didn't help in areas because we went into this book and I was expecting all the answers. When obviously, if it's book 3 of 5, I shouldn't get all the answers. So, wrong expectations for
Yeah.
myself. I mean, I definitely ended the book with more question marks. And I think that's a common consensus from the internet.
That's probably true, but that's a good thing. We want to be like speculate. The fan theories and the questions don't come if we got all the answers. I don't want to leave going like, okay, what now? Like that's hard. I mean, I kind of feel that way. It doesn't feel like it was wrapped up with a bow. I feel that way because I'm like, okay, like literally what now, Rebecca? Like,
You and I both read Throne of Glass when it was a completed series.
mhm.
So I try to remember, like, if I started Throne of Glass and ended on Empire of Storms, I might be furious at the author. I might not continue the series. I might, like, I might have really strong opinions. However, we got there in the end, and I got the final book, and you see the full story. I try to remind myself exactly what you're saying. We're in the
Yeah.
middle of the story, Sarah. You should be confused. You should be feeling passionate. It's okay. I'm not happy about needing to wait probably more than a year, but I understand, Rebecca. I respect you. Whatever. Do whatever you want. We're here for the story when it comes.
I don't know. I kind of feel like work, bitch. Let's go. No, I want her to spend time with her kids, but also like, hello.
You're more important.
You have 1 billion of us waiting to read the next book.
I said this to you, but I really think that we're going to get progression and maybe even a season or something of the TV show, before we're going to get a new book. I really feel that way. Who knows? We'll see.
I can definitely see that happening, or at least like, yeah, I can see like season 1 coming out before.
Because think about it. I don't think you can do a full season of just Fourth Wing. I think maybe it'll be split in half, maybe it'll be split in thirds. You could prolong that out for a long time. Think of Game of Thrones. They're not the same size books, but
I think you could do one season of just Fourth Wing. I think if it was 5 seasons, I think
well,
you
I mean,
could.
5 seasons sounds like a good amount.
I think you could do like the first book, I think you're forgetting, like the first book is like 450 pages.
It still looks big.
It looks teeny compared to Iron Flame and Onyx Storm. Look at it.
I don't know, they all look relatively the same.
God, I hope the last book is like, I want to savor every second. Like give me an encyclopedia for the last book. I think you're right. I think we could potentially be getting that, but right now where we are in the story, I'm happy with the progression. I think we were talking about this before. It does not surprise me the progression of Xaden through this book. It's
Me
kind of what
neither.
I expected.
Mhm,
I knew he was starting as an initiate, and I knew that was not going to stay that way. And I'm
mm-mm.
actually surprised it took him the entire book to
Me too.
turn more. Like I thought that was
Mhm,
going to be a lot sooner, so I'm actually surprised about that.
mhm.
It does make sense since we're only in book 3. We'll talk about predictions later. Before I keep going,
Good job, good catch. Next episode.
I know I could get going on predictions all day long. Okay, we're back at Biscay at the beginning of this book for classes. This is what's so funny is like they're kind of pretending they're all in school and that first year, second year, third year matters when
Yeah.
nothing does anymore. And they do this the whole book where I'm like, seriously, why does it matter anymore? Like, you have people training people. I think that's important to say. But first year, second year, third year, it matters ish in their ranks, but we're all here and there's a war. So prepare us all.
My initial feeling when I was reading, we had literally just finished Iron Flames. I should have been very fresh with the story, and I think it helped. However, I had a hard time remembering that this was like days later.
Yeah.
It wasn't a year later, it wasn't months later, it was days later. Maybe like the next day, 2 days, I don't know. I had a hard time remembering that. And it actually was really jarring to me in the beginning how different Xaden and Violet's their roles were. So,
Mhm.
like, book 1, I'm this weak girl trying to figure out, and oh, I can do it. I can survive. I am strong. Book 2, okay, now she knows that, but she's still battling inner demons and trying to figure out. End of book, she's a bit more powerful. This book started with, like, I'm the bad bitch of the town. I get it, and I'm gonna save everybody. And Xaden being like, I've already told you this. Keep going, keep going, and him kind of falling into the background. I totally get why, and by end of book, I'm loving the dynamic. But first 100 pages, that was really hard for me. And I told you, I felt like I was meeting brand new characters that I had to like learn their personality and understand what makes them tick. And it took me a second.
To be fair, I think we were supposed to feel that way because we kind of were meeting brand new characters. Like the dynamics after that battle had completely shifted.
And that's the jarring part is I'm like, "Oh yeah, you just lost your mom. Oh yeah, the world almost ended."
Like Sawyer's going through his own trauma. Everybody's
Oh,
going through their own traumas. She's got her mom that died and the love of her life just became a venom and she's trying to figure out what the heck to do with this information. She's hiding more things again, trying to figure out who to tell because he can get killed over it, which totally makes sense. I think Xaden beginning his villain era, and I'm not even saying that. Rebecca has said, someone asked her, who's your favorite villain in the series? And she says, Xaden. And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be.
He
Next book, he's gonna be the villain.
he absolutely ended this book as the villain, but it did take the whole book.
But this whole book too, you're like, there was so many moments where you see not the Xaden we know, and like Violet not seeing the Xaden she knows, like slipping, like his control slipping, everything slipping, his mask falling, his rage showing, all of the things where
Mhm,
it's like, oh my god, I don't know this man anymore. But I think that's the beautiful thing about this story and this plot. It's the character development of we knew this was gonna happen. Like we all fell in love with Xaden too fast. Middle of book 1, when they were like kissing and he was literally in love with her, we
mhm,
were screwed. We were
mhm,
screwed. He was never
definitely.
going to make it through all 5 books as the perfect boyfriend. So, we knew to expect this a little bit, and it sucks that it's here. We're like, "Dang, it happened." But I think part of that is the beauty of this story. So, I think I did like enjoy that, but I agree with you. They felt like reading different characters until this is probably the part that I loved most at the beginning, right? The first part where they're still at Biscayeth and they're kind of doing life as normal when Professor Ryerson comes in. I'm telling you, that scene of him kicking everyone's butt, like, I was like, "Oh, no.
Shoot.
I
Thought I loved him before.
seriously, like, I will be the teacher's pet every day." Like, him, oh my gosh, like, I've never loved that, like, trope before, the, like, professor-student trope until it was Zayden Ryerson, and I'm like, "Okay."
All it took was me reading the words for the first time, and it's not even Violet saying it. It's not like a sexual moment. It's somebody else, like Devira or somebody saying, "Professor Ryerson." I was like,
Floats to another dimension.
literally.
I loved that portion of this book. Like that Zayden, there's two Zaydens I absolutely loved in this book. It was Professor Ryerson and Zayden and Deverelli, the happiest Zayden on the planet,
Oh my
cut off
god.
from everything. Oh,
Again, I felt like we met a new person, and I was just giddy the whole time. I'm like,
I was as giddy as he was, as Violet was. Like
he's
seeing
looking
him like
back
that,
and winking at her and smirking at her.
the little
Oh,
flirty banter, so free, and like I was like, oh my god.
the moment that on page she says like, "Oh, look at that black silk, like, it's so nice. When am I ever gonna be able to wear that?" She says something like that. Immediately, he gets off his horse and he's like, "I have to go inside and check something." I took a picture of the page because 'cause I'm like, "This is coming back up later. He's buying a ring or he's buying her something." I thought it was a ring, so we'll get into that in a second, but when it showed up and it was this silk night dress or whatever, I was like, "I knew it," but even though I was expecting it, it still was the sweetest thing ever.
Uh, the other like Xaden moments I loved was when Violet went into the Serenium to like basically tell the leaders like, no, your plan is stupid and this is actually what we're doing now. And Xaden had his feet up and he was like, told you so. Just like watched her be an absolute boss and was just like speaking into her mind like, God, I love you. Like I eat that up every time.
If I didn't love you already, I would have fallen for you right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. So those moments, okay, yes, when he became Professor Ryerson, it was the first time that I was like, "Oh, I'm back with Violet and Xaden." Okay. Which I'm not mad about it. I think it's really incredible how Rebecca was able to change the characters so much in one book, but it took me a second.
I agree. As soon as, and I was surprised actually, I don't know why, I was surprised how fast we went to the aisles. And then that whole portion, not the first time in Deverelli, that was really interesting, but then they came back and went back out again. And that portion where they were jumping from aisle to aisle and all the different gods they were meeting was so cool. Did you love that part as much as I did?
If I am to section out like a chunk of the book, that's my absolute favorite. My favorite scene happens there, and it's her, Violet and Riddick talking.
Oh, yes. I thought you were gonna say the Xaden mom scene, at the house with the poisoning.
Oh, I love that scene for different reasons. But my absolute favorite scene of this book is Violet and Riddick's conversation when he calls her out.
I love Riddick.
One, this book deserves 5 stars just because of the character development of Riddick. So he, right? Like we know him as class clown, we know him as a huge goofball. He'll be there when you need him, but all we really know about him is goofball.
Loyal goofball.
Loyal goofball, which I think we all know somebody like that, and they have my heart.
Sorry, pause before you continue to his emotional side. And can I quickly talk about Atrum and Riddick's relationship and how they pull pranks on each other?
Yeah.
It is so good, and I loved, we can talk about this later, loved getting to see the different relationships with the dragons and their riders and how different they are from one another. It was so fun, but I cackled, like, hearing that Riddick and his dragon just, like, pull full pranks on each other, like, seriously? Rebecca, love.
Yes, yes. That shows like her witty, funny side, and it is so good on the
Yeah.
page. So I was loving having Riddick in the scenes. I love that he pushed to be a part of what did he call it? Squad
Quest Squad.
Quest Squad. I loved all that, but I wasn't expecting this moment from him. So the moment I'm talking about is he sees Zayden's eyes turn red. He understands that he's a Venom, and he pulls Violet aside and they go into the woods, whatever, to have this conversation. This whole conversation, I was a mess. I was crying very hard. I I guess it's his switch from, hey, just because everyone knows that I can laugh and I can be a good time doesn't mean I don't see what you're doing. It was the telling her that she has value. It was the, have you forgotten that you're worth it? Have you forgotten that you actually deserve better?
The "Where's the
Where's the
line"
line?
conversation was so good, and he's like, "I need a line from you or I will choose it because this cannot go."
He goes really gentle and he's like, "Come on, Vi, like, just tell me." And then he gets stern when he needs to. And he keeps
Perfect.
pushing. He keeps pushing. What is it? What is it? I'm gonna choose. And she's like, okay, fine. If he hurts somebody, blah, blah, blah. But then later he's like, that's our line. That's not my line. And then he says, like, we're gonna tell the whole squad, no more secrets. And he says straight up to Zayden, yeah, all those people would choose you before they choose her.
He's
She needs
so
people in
right.
her
He's
corner.
so right for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't care that these people know, these people have Zayden's back. I mean, they might have yours too because of him, but they
But
have,
he is first in their brain.
and that might include you because your lives are tied, but it's not about you, Violet. Like, it
You
isn't about
think
you.
Bodhi and Garrick are gonna choose Violet before they choose Xaden? No, never. They love her, but no.
And Xaden, like, works out deals with them every time so that Violet gets protected. They love her because he loves her, but that's not the
That's
same.
it. That's the reason why. Well, as soon as it switched and Riddick showed us, I am a grown ass man who sees things clearly. I just also choose to have fun in life. Oh, and it was as the reader, like Rebecca got me. I wasn't even thinking like, "Hey, Violet, you should be putting yourself first in some of these moments." I've just been thinking so much about the dynamic between Xaden and Violet and how are we going to save him. And then somebody on page is like, knock, 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 like, hello, you're not thinking.
I wrote a note really early on how frustrated I felt early that Violet was trying to ignore. No, 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 it's fine. We're going to find a cure. Like, not a big deal. Like, everybody ignore, ignore, ignore.
Yes.
And lying to herself and to Xaden, like, when the fingerprint showed up on her headboard, like, she wasn't protecting herself at all. She made him draw the line, and I wanted her to have more power. We'll get into Violet. I think overall, I have amazing feelings about her this book, and I have some complicated feelings about her this book. And some of the complicated feelings around the times that somebody else had to spell something out for her that was so obvious to me. There's two main ones that come to my mind. Well, three main ones. One of them is this Riddick situation where he's like, "Hello, this
Yeah.
isn't safe. You need to draw a line or you're going to get hurt." Then the other one is when basically Xaden had to spell out her second signet for her. And that was kind of crazy to me. I wanted that moment to be her brilliant woman self that she is, like her scribe mind, putting the pieces together for herself in that moment. And she made Xaden spell it out. And I'm like, girl, you're smarter than this. Like, we all figured it out 3 pages ago. And she still had to get it spelled out for her.
You had those feelings when you shared that with me. I felt for the other character. I felt for Xaden. In the same way that you were jarred about Violet, I was really jarred of how freaked out he was.
Yeah.
And I maybe it's supposed to be telling us like how much he's not himself, but every single time that Violet has ever brought him a problem, he's cool, calm, collected, and he has an answer and a strategy before she's finished with her sentence.
Yeah.
And this time, obviously on page, he has a revelation before she does. So, I mean, he has a head start. He is freaking out. And then he's like, shit, she's freaking out. I got to take care of her. I was I don't know. I hadn't seen that from him before. It's a very human response, but not normally how he responds.
Yeah, that's true. The last time we could talk about her signet in a second. The last time I was frustrated with Violet was how she kept ignoring Arik at the end. Seriously? I was screaming at the book. I was like, Violet, if you ignore Arik one more freaking time, this man clearly knows what he's talking about. And not till the very end, she was like, oh, he knows everything. Oh my God. Can we pay attention to Arik for one flippin' second?
He said the simplest sentence in the world. You want to win this war, you protect that temple.
She's like,
That's like a
whatever.
key to the chest. And she's like, that doesn't make any sense. I can't talk to you right now. I'm like, somebody says that to you and you go, holy crap, how do you know that? Okay, I'm going to listen
You
to
know what
you.
you do is, hey, Arik, why do you think that? Ask one question. Oh, cool. Why? I just.
The dinosaur.
She just frustrated the crap out of me. Those three were it. And the rest of the book, I will say, my overwhelming feelings about Violet were I loved watching her step into her power in so many moments. Like, seriously, her becoming the most powerful, owning herself, owning her power, having some precision, getting more powerful. I loved hearing about how her
Me
power
too.
is growing all the way through the book, through the end when she's like knocking down 7, 8, 6 wyverns at a time. I was like, yes, like
Loving it.
she
Yeah.
just absolutely the moments in Deverelli, the moment in I can't remember the name of it, wherever Zayden's mom is, when she like literally owns that room and was like, actually, I've been playing you this whole flipping time. That part,
I
all of
love
it.
that part. I loved that part.
But I'm like, they all made me feel so pumped about Violet, her power, and her coming into her leadership style. And we talked about this early, but early, we were like, they are setting her up to be some kind of queen, something, whatever. Little did we know she ends the book as the Duchess of Tyrador.
Were you expecting that? Were you expecting her to end the book in
No, no.
Okay, I say me neither. However, when I read that part, you told me that's what you were shocked by. I was shocked by Imogen's role. That kind of first time on page that we're like, shoot, she has her mind erased. However, I was not shocked by the ring and by the assumption, well, by the not assumption, it is fact that they are married. I guess it took me until the last page to realize that the entire book I was picking up on all of his signals every single time he mentions
That's
like
true.
who they are to each other. No, we're not boyfriend, we're more than that. No, we can't go back now. He mentioned something about a ring at some point and she said something. So I was actually expecting a marriage. I guess I didn't expect it this book, but I was not surprised.
So I will say, I wasn't surprised they ended up married. I was surprised it happened this book and we didn't get to see any of it on page, kind of. I was shocked by the very ending. It actually took me a minute to process the what did you do and Imogen saying what I had to. I had to like, the first time I read it, I was like, what? And then later I was like, oh my God, she erased her mind. It was probably like an hour later. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It wasn't right away.
The moment that Imogen's name, the moment that she says, I turned and looked at Imogen, I'm like, oh shit. She definitely did mind work. No. I was confused about everything before. How she kept saying like, "How long has it been? Where have I been? What's happening?" And then Brendan's explaining that people are missing. All of that confused me, which I think it's supposed to. But
Can we talk about all of the second signets? Because
oh
we got
my
a lot of second
gosh,
signets in this friggin' book.
what a good bomb drop! What a good surprise!
That's been speculated because people picked up on Liam's second signet in the first book.
What's Liam's second signet?
Ice wielding. They talk about him the whole first book. And then in the Battle of Resin, she's like, I look over, there's streams of ice coming from Liam. She says it quickly in the book, but like people picked up on it.
I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
No.
So it's a quick line in the first book where it's like, if you weren't paying attention, you would not think twice, because if you weren't like thinking about Liam's signet in the moment, you wouldn't be like, there's battles, so there's so much going on. So you're like, oh, this person's there, this person's doing this there. So you're just kind of like, oh. And then people afterwards picked up on like, hang on, didn't they say his signet is Farsight? Is that a misprint?
People are so smart.
Thank God other people pay attention, because
Thank God
certainly not
people
us.
deep dive and tell us about it because I'm on to my next book.
I had heard that forever ago. It was not a full surprise to me. I don't think I knew Garrick's signet up front, his original signet. What was it?
Oh, wind wielder.
Okay. And then the distance wielding was so badass. And The one question I have is, you think Bodhi has a second signet, right? And why
Of
is he
course.
hiding it? He says to Violet, Violet's like, Bodhi, what's your second signet? He goes, I have none, just like Xaden. Everyone's like, except for he does. So it's like, he obviously has one. He's not sharing. And I want to know why. We can talk about that next book or next episode. Then Imogen and her, what? Earth wielding, stone building.
She makes the stone wall or whatever them in front of them to save them from the dragon fire. But then one of the last sentences of the book is Violet says something about like Brennan says something and she says the word, I swear it looks like Imogen just turned to stone. So I think that's another hint at it.
You know what I loved too? Every time it happened in front of Dane, he's like, clocked it. We're talking about this later.
Oh, okay. Can we say that I loved Dane's
I
development in this
know.
book as well? Like, I feel the feelings of him coming back to boy best friend, and
Totally
I
agree.
really like it.
I do too.
Relationships aren't perfect, and I feel like he reminds us of that. Like, none of us are perfect. Relationships can be hard. You can work through things, and there can be resolve and forgiveness, and we move on.
This is the fun part about reading them so far apart is you're like, I hate Dane. Screw Dane. He's the freaking worst. We hold true to that. Like, even through the second book, when he starts getting redemption arc, we're like, yeah, whatever. Dane freaking sucks. And I think this is the first book where I have like full empathy for Dane now for the whole series. Kind of looking back and him being like, I was acting out of what I thought was correct then. I thought this was right then. I didn't know what I didn't know. You guys were all privy to information and thought I was being malicious when I wasn't
Hmm.
trying to be. And I think that's where in the first book, we have to assume from Violet and Zayden's POVs that Dane is being malicious because those are their thoughts. And so we're kind of entered, those are our thoughts now about Dane because that's how they're thinking about Dane. He's doing this on purpose. He's taking your memories. He's doing this stuff. Dane's like, I mean, I did, but like, I didn't know.
But
Like,
I'm sorry.
yeah, like, I didn't know what was going on. And like, I said something because I thought it was the right thing to do. And I thought you were in trouble and you were with this guy that I thought maybe wasn't good. And like, I think understanding him so much better now. Can we just say right now, we're both calling it, right? Sloan and Dane.
We're
Sloan and
calling
Dane.
it. We're calling it. I don't think we're alone. I think many other people have picked this up, but we're
She kind
calling
of
it.
spells it out on the page. I can't remember, like somewhere towards like the front, middle of the book, they have a moment where she sees Sloane like kind of ogling Dane or whatever. And then Sloane's like, yep, screw you.
Yeah, I hate you. Don't touch me.
Okay, Sloane.
I'm like, oh, we're doing high school. Okay.
Also, part of that like dynamic is a third year, first year, which was Zayden and Violet. And he's like, oh, like first years. And it's a similar thing. I think he's kind of getting a taste of his own medicine from like him putting that pressure on Violet because he was a third year and she was a first year and that's not kosher. I love that he is going to be with Sloane when that's the age gap.
That's definitely going to happen. Also, I'm so excited for Garrick and Imogen. I'm excited for whatever Rebecca writes. I just hope that it's something.
So Quinn's whole death scene was, I mean, just stab, 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 stab. But I will say, for a death from a Rebecca book, the moment hit me because obviously it's devastating, but Quinn's death won't be like Liam's to me.
But the reason it was emotional was because of Imogen. Imogen is a stone wall. Imogen it doesn't have emotion. She's very hardcore. She can take care of herself. And so it was Imogen breaking down. That's why we both are sobbing into our books. You never get on page how much Quinn means to her. This is the most we've gotten. We know it's her best friend, but we didn't know how they met
Yeah, learning how they met, learning how they were.
on the parapet.
Oh my gosh. And how Quinn just like immediately pulled her out of like, we're going to be best friends. That's it now. When she started going into her goodbyes and Imogen's like, stop it right now. And I was like, it was horrible. But she said to Imogen while she was dying, you need to tell Garrick how you feel.
You need to have happy. You need to have happy too, or something like
Yeah.
that.
And then, of course, Garrick immediately shows up and is like, I'm not leaving you here. You are coming with me. And you can like see his emotion of feeling the same way, and neither of them are saying anything. And I was hoping for an immediate confession. And I know We still have 2 more books, so that probably wasn't gonna happen, but, like, I was secretly hoping for an immediate confession because we were in Imogen's POV, and I'm thinking to myself, "How often are we gonna be in Imogen's POV? Like, let me have this."
So maybe that's gonna be what carries us through romantically for next book. I think the book will probably start without Xaden and her, they all start a couple days apart, so he's not gonna be there page
We'll leave the
1.
prediction about writing style of next book for next book or next episode because I do have thoughts on the writing style for next book, how it might be because of the separation. But I did love that. Okay, one other relationship we have to talk about that I am so devastated by, Kat and Traeger.
Oh, Cat. Cat was happy for 1 moment. 1 moment that she allowed herself to fricking forget about Xaden, finally accepted, also seems like sweetest dude on earth. That whole scene when Violet they just get back to mind speaking because it's the first island where they have a little bit of magic, and he says into her mind, like, "I wish I could do this for you, but I can't. You have to be a leader right now. Do it." And she has to step up, no emotions. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. That took me out. Seriously. I was like, I would be throwing up if I were her.
Mhm,
I could
mhm.
never do that. And the fact that she knew immediately this is what needs to be done.
God, there's so much to talk about.
Okay, let's quickly jump back to the beginning, back to Professor Ryerson, back to meeting Halden for the first time.
I saw it coming.
Okay, this was a previous fan theory that
Mm.
Halden was her ex-boyfriend. So it wasn't a shock to me, but the moment that man stepped in the room for the signet training, they like locked eyes. I was like, I was screaming. I was screaming. I loved every second
You
of
know
it.
what? I feel like before he opened his mouth, I knew what his personality was gonna be, and so I
Horrid.
was, like, already defensive. I was already like,
I
"Shut
know this
up."
man, and that's what pisses me off about him.
That's it. I have history with a man like this, like,
Same.
it is yes.
Literally same. I'm mad at that man again by reading about Halden.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm like, here you are again showing up in my life. What are you doing here? The moment he says something and she goes, don't, I'm like, you are me, Violet.
When you just know somebody so well, you've put up with their crap for way too long, you're a different person now, you're stronger, you're better, you're more powerful,
Yeah.
and you're just like, "Stop, we're not doing this. We're not doing this again. No, no thanks." Relatable.
Zayden getting so jealous over this situation, everyone being so surprised. She was like, it never came up. But I remember, I think it was in Iron Flame where they were talking
Yes,
about his
yes.
exes. And she's like, we don't talk about exes. And he goes, because I don't care about your exes. And then all of a sudden her ex shows up. Guess who cares about her exes now? Jealous Zayden after, not during, after when they were having a conversation. And he was like, yes, I'm jealous, love.
Oh, I loved how many times he called her love in
I
this
do too.
book.
I love that. I love that so much.
That scene is the first time you and I said to each other, "Ooh, like, we're seeing his control slip. This is a sign. This is a sign that he's losing control this book," for Xaden.
100%. Every single time it's Halden. Like the beginning through Deverelli, where he like loses it to the conduit, it's Halden. Every catalyst for him losing his mind every single time.
Yeah. Jealousy, overprotectiveness, all of it.
I did love when they were in Corden before they flew to Deverelli and they were needed to share a room and Zayden was purposely riling Halden up so that he could
On the
get to the point.
stairs.
He was like, "What? I'm not here as a professor."
He's like, "Just answer the damn question. Am I here as professor?" And he's like, "No, I guess you're not."
Perfect sweeps her up and takes her to his room. I was like, I
I
loved that
loved
part
it,
so
loved
much.
it.
Wow. I really feel like now that we're talking about this again, because I just finished this today, so this is me kind of externally processing this book with you at this exact moment. I realized how much of this book I like loved.
Oh, it was a dream. It was so fun.
I loved this book because then we get to Deborah after this. They have the whole Halden riding in the basket, which is just hilarious.
The memes that are coming out of that scenario are so funny.
Rebecca is seriously so funny. Like I cackled. We get to Deborelli, right? Then we have the whole situation where it's like, okay, Halden's gonna go deal with the king. We're gonna go find Narelle and like whatever is waiting for us there, which happens to be her dad's journals, notebooks, books, research. Sorry. they get there and Narelle thinks that Xaden is Dane. He's like, you're exactly how.
And Mira has the whole scene where she just loses it. There is so many funny moments in this book.
So many. It's
There's
so
so
good.
many.
Oh, Mira is someone we haven't even brought up.
Mira, Talia, and Darna. Can't end without talking about those people. Guys, normally we do these episodes in 3 parts. However, there was no way ever that Jillian and I were going to stop halfway through Onyx Storm and come together and share all our thoughts. So that's why we're here, just giving you a download of the whole book.
But if you're with us in this moment and you just finished Onyx Storm and you want to talk through your favorite parts, that's why we're here.
And get into our DMs so we can talk about your specific moment.
You know who we haven't talked about at all either? Theophany.
Oh, I have big things to talk about there. Okay, who do we start with?
Let's talk about Xaden's mom. I was not
Xaden's mom.
surprised that we met her this book, and I was not surprised she was on an aisle. This has been speculated about before. I did forget though, we were bopping aisle to aisle, and I'm vibing with the group, right? So like,
Yes.
I remembered this from before, but when she showed up, I was like, oh my God, it happened. So I think her relationship, the first question I have, and I don't want to talk about predictions, but do you think she's going to come back up again? Or was that it for Talia?
Look, I think she's alive, therefore she's coming back up again. I think so.
What are your thoughts on Talia?
Even if it's very small. Oh, my thoughts on Talia. Okay. Wow. I wasn't expecting the backstabbing moment. However, I was very cautious and skeptical why she was so like almost like wanting to be forgiving and happy immediately.
Wait, are you under the impression she did the backstabbing?
No, I understand what happened. This is not one of those moments where I missed the whole plot. I understand. However, she played a part, right? Like he worked through her. Her husband worked through her to poison them. She made the chocolate cake, husband poisoned it. She's still married to this man. So
Yeah, ew.
in my mind, like she's a part of.
And she did nothing once she figured it out. She like stood in the corner and cried. I mean, she got
She said
poisoned
like,
too.
"How could you do this?" But no, she's not on my list. But I was really thrown off that her first emotion was, like, showing up to the door and being like, But can you come to dinner? Like, he should meet the whole family, like, here's my list of to-dos while he's in town," kinda thing, and I was like, not the emotions I expect from somebody who abandoned their child, no matter the reason. I would expect, like, straightforward empathy and almost being a bit more cowardly of, like, if you even wanna be here, even if you even wanna talk to me, if you even wanna look at my face.
Yeah, not even coming up with it like, I know that happened, even if I thought I was doing the right thing at the time, you didn't deserve that. And I think she had none of that in her. She wanted the relationship for her. He showed up and she was like, oh, perfect. I get to have you back. Like, come downstairs, let's catch up. And there was no like acknowledgement from her. Zayd had to be like, do you realize you fully deserted me? And she's like, well, what else was I supposed to do?
She's like, "Kinda, but I have a reason." Didn't love that. However, I think you have more feelings about Talia. For me, it's leading to just how Violet mastermind the room. For me, it's all worth it for that. Now, I was somebody who was like, my heart was dropping out of my chest when I thought Garrick was dying. That terrified me.
I'm like, we're mid book. Garrick's not dying right now.
So I think this deserves a mention. There's the moment in the beginning of the book where Tairn gets hurt. That moment for me was not emotional because immediately I'm like, you're not killing off Tairn. So he's injured. All right, he'll get better. I don't know if if everyone had that reaction, because there's so much talked about, like, if you hurt either of these dragons, I'm going to be pissed. I was kind of like, oh, okay, he got hurt. It made me question the storm more than it made me question, is Tairn gonna die?
Tairn got hurt a lot in this
A
book.
lot, yes. However, when it came time for Garrick to be injured, for some reason, that one caught me, and I was like, hold on. I know he's not a main character, but, like, I love him, and I want him to be here, and Imogen needs him. Imogen.
Imogen.
I always say that. Yeah, it really scared me. But Potions Master.
Oh, her working through what is in there, so delicious. Oh my god, so good. You know what part got me more than Garrick eating the cake? Riddick getting stabbed and then being like,
Riddick.
"Psych, I really thought that was gonna be worse."
Those 3 chapters, every one of those chapters ends with like, "Is this character dying? Is this character dying? What about this character?" And it's 1 AM and I'm like, "I gotta go to bed." And then it's like, "Is Riddick dying? Flip, gotta read the next chapter." And then like, "Is Garrick dying? Gotta read the next."
But I love that Riddick just punched the cook. That part was so funny. But then she's back and she's like mixing up their antidote, getting all the information out of them. I was living for the way that Violet commanded. And she was sending people off because they were poisoned. She was sending people off like, Mira, go command the entire house. This person go do that thing. This person prepare the beach. We're leaving after this.
Who does that remind you of?
Zayden.
Yes. Feel like it was her first moment of like the full roles were flipped. He was on the ground looking at her with doe eyes, like, "What's gonna happen to my best friend in the whole world?" And she's like, "I got it. 1 second."
Oh my god, but the moment it was handled, then Zayden flipped.
He was on the ice.
But you could see that was the moment that Riddick was like, "What's going on here?"
You don't want your best friend to be with somebody that toxic who might kill somebody on accident.
It was like, hey, what's going on with your boyfriend? Because that was weird." So that whole scene though, high stress. I know I loved all of that, but before that all happened, when Violet was just talking to Zayden about his trauma with his mom, and he like realizes that like she immediately came back and had 2 other kids.
He's like, "How old are they?" Yep.
They are 10 years younger than me. She literally immediately came back and had different kids and replaced me. So, how fun is that? And that broke my heart for
Mhm.
him. That moment, and the no acknowledgement from Talia about how that might affect Zayden was devastating to me. I really hated that part.
This is why I think that she'll come back up, is because I think that she might give us some more answers as to what it was like living with his dad and what her role was. Because now Violet's in that role.
I hope she leaves that man. I hope she figures out a way to get an army for her
Yeah.
son. And I think that will happen. I think she will come back and be an advocate, and that relationship will repair a little bit. I'm not talking about predictions right now, though, so not to worry.
Next episode. How many times can we say that?
We didn't talk about Violet's tie with her hair to the goddess of war. That whole part with the 3 people fighting kind of situation, I didn't love that scene. I don't know how you felt about that scene.
I have a big question about this scene. Thank God that you brought this up. So that's in Devreli. They're fighting the 3 people. Thank you for reminding me. And the only reason that she wins from the girl is the girl thinks that she wielded lightning. And so she kind of gets shocked and then she's like, "Tell me how you did it." What happened? Do you think
What
okay,
happened?
okay, here's my biggest question of this freaking book. Why is Violet the only one that can talk to her dragons when there's no magic? And how many times was it like, I feel the magic scorching through my veins. I feel my power rising up. Oh, but it's not possible because there's no magic here. It's just a phantom feeling. And then that lightning strike happens. What? Am I supposed to believe that because she's blessed by Dune or whatever was dedicated, that that's the answer? No. There has to be some other reason. What is going on there?
My prediction that we're not talking about,
Tell
but
me.
I'm telling you,
No, I have to know.
I think it's an Andarna thing. I think it's an Irids thing because nobody else is bonded to an Irid. She's bonded to 2 dragons and one very special dragon with
Okay.
special things. They pull magic differently. They told them that.
Yes, that she can shape whatever the magic
She's
is.
like, you're boxing in your magic far too much. Like, you can do whatever you want with your own magic kind of situation. I think the magic ability is not tied to the earth for Irids. And because she's bonded to an Irid, I think that has to do with why she's able to wield, and I do think she wields unknowingly. And she's kind of like, "Oh, what was that? That's not possible. I'll ignore it." Violet.
Why can she still dreamwalk once Andarna breaks the bond and leaves?
I was wondering that. I red flagged the crap out of that.
I would imagine it's an Andarna thing, but what does it mean? That the bond wasn't fully broken, but then she, like,
I have a
kind of
question.
almost
How far
died?
apart did she dreamwalk to when no, she dreamwalked and then immediately went into the battle and then Andarna was there. I think Andarna was in the space.
You think Darna had, like, already flown back, but we were unaware. Okay. Yeah, like, I could see it happening.
That's my gut because I don't even know if Andarna made it all the way to the Isles.
Yeah, I'm excited to get that backstory.
I don't know what happened there, but I don't know that she made it all the way to the Isles to her family and had any sort of interaction before she realized she couldn't just leave Violet. She was needed elsewhere.
I do not see Sigale taking her back kindly. That's all I'll say.
Sigale is a big question mark for me this whole book. This whole book. Her relationship with Xaden, her relationship with Taryn, what she thinks about all of this, how she feels about any of this is a big, big question mark for me that I'm hoping we get more of next book. I'm hoping we get Xaden POVs with Sigale speaking.
Yeah.
I got the most out of that POV where we finally hear her talking about things because the whole book is like, Sigale's oddly quiet. And Xaden's like, she's not speaking to me. It's like, what is she thinking? And the whole time, like, whenever she asks Taryn, Taryn's like, Sigale handles herself.
Well, Taryn knows that he's mated to an independent woman, so he's like, I don't get in the middle of her battles. She assists me when needed.
Yeah. Sigale's a big question mark. Shall we talk about Andarna leaving?
Wasn't expecting it. Oh, I think it was the inner monologue of Violet being speechless. And in her knowing because they're connected and their emotions are connected, and her just looking at Indarna and knowing that she knows what Indarna wants to do, but she won't be able to say it. And so she just let her know, gave her the acceptance, and then that was it. I only chapter 53 and chapter 63 did I cry that hard.
Ugh, that shocked me. But Andarna, this whole book, well, not this whole book, up through when she met her family, which was absolutely devastating on the Isles. They basically rejected her for who she was, even though they left her alone. And when Violet said that to them, was like, you put her with the Empyrean to be raised by the Empyrean, and you thought she was just going to be different when there was nobody here to guide her. She was a child.
Nature versus nurture. What do you think when you're being raised in that environment? She's going to become what she's around.
Yeah. And it's like, I 100% defended Andarna and Violet in that scenario. And she was like, I didn't know when I bonded to her that she was a child. I didn't find that out until afterwards. It's not like I was looking to manipulate a child into war. Like, this is not what I wanted. Every moment I tried to protect her and all the things. And Andarna's heart just breaking as her family like rejects her. It's like they're the manipulative ones. They fly away, say no, screw you, then come back together, say you can break this bond, like you don't need them or whatever kind of situation. And I was like, ew. This guy was like, I raised your wards, but like I just want Andarna, like we're taking her with us because you've ruined her. We don't believe in you guys. I think they will come back, but I was devastated by that moment as well. It was a very break the bond moment. And when it was empty and she like couldn't get out of bed for days. Oh, I hated that.
Oh, that was such a relatable moment when you're with your safest person and you're in your most vulnerable state. She's in the bath and she's rinsing her hair.
Sorry, Xaden washing her?
Oh, no, it's not a sexual thing, it's a vulnerability thing. It is a
100%.
gorgeous view of what it is for two souls to connect and choose each other, and, oh.
I love it so much.
It's a relatable moment, her state of vulnerability of how, you have those moments with your safest person where you actually have no filters and you actually say what might be scary to you, but you just kinda say it because you're with your person, and when she says, I think I know why people die when their dragons die. And he's like, freezes, and then he's like, oh, what do you mean? Just that sharing of your darkest thought of like, yeah, because I had the choice. I chose life, but I can see how easy it is to not choose life. Very raw, real world on page.
Something I love about Rebecca's writing style is how she brings in these delicate, emotional, traumatic moments and helps build people like showing the strength you to get past them too. She does it in such a beautiful way with the autoimmune stuff with Violet, with Sawyer regaining his leg and getting back on, and who he needs to trust and how he needs to do things differently, and how it takes him a lot of time, and his his relationship with Rhiannon and with Violet during that portion, and his squad being there for him, but him needing to believe in himself as well. That portion of it, she brings in the vulnerability aspect to this series so gorgeously. It's so, I think, needed. You know what I mean? It's not all these strong people getting healed by magic all the time, blah, blah, blah. It's these people going through hard stuff and needing to work through it. And I love that about her writing style.
We have said this to each other before, but people talk about these books like they're only smut. They talk about this, that. A reason that these books have changed your and I's life is because of these narratives. It's because of the woman who, in the end, can like conquer all her demons and get through it and know that she deserves to keep going. Like she deserves good things. The way that Rebecca writes grief and loss, I know I'm not alone in knowing what that feels like just humanizing a magical world and putting it on page. There is something so healing about being able to say, I know that emotion. I know what that state of mind looks like. I've been there. I feel it. And then to watch a character walk through those emotions, it is healing in a brand new way. That trumps every reason as to why I love these stories
I
and why
know.
I will keep reading.
She's got to do it well because there's a lot of death in these books. Another thing that might be in prediction territory, but I also think is just part of the story developing, is this idea of it comes into play the first time when they meet the Griffins. And you remember when they're asking them, like, oh, what does your parapet look like? And they're like, we walk to the cliff, we jump, we land on a Griffin, and if we don't, we fall into the water, swim to shore, shake off the ego, and move on with our lives. We join the infantry or the healers. And everyone, all the writers are like, you don't die? And they're like, no, turns out that doesn't have to happen. You psychopaths at Best Gaia. And so I think this idea of brutality, because the whole first book is like, it builds you, it prepares you for war, this prepares you for life, you need to watch people die to kind of get over it because it's going to happen. This idea that like actually people don't need to be dying. It's
Mm,
crazy what we're putting these people through
mm,
just to get ourselves mentally tough enough to prepare for war when our humanity is actually so beautiful. And I think that is something that Violet's realizing part of. And I think this series might end with the whole of Beskaya changing the way they do things or whatever it might be. I don't know who is going to end up in charge or whatever, but I can see, like, as credits roll, these are the way things have changed at Beskaya, then I think that could be one of them. But I think that's kind of an underlying story.
I'll save my rebuttal for the next episode,
Okay.
but I will say for now that I completely agree.
All right, let's talk about Mira.
Mira, you go first.
I was having some mixed thoughts about Mira this book, not in a bad way, but she was very secretive. So I was a lot of
Yes.
times going like, what the heck is going on with Mira? I'm glad she didn't die. I actually wasn't kind of afraid that she was going to die this book. And now I'm thinking maybe she won't because they already put her in this position. Because I wasn't sure that Mira would survive the whole series. But now that she has
Yeah,
been in this position and lived, I don't think that Mira is going to die again.
which that leaves one sibling. God knows that Violet's had enough near death experiences.
Well, so is Brennan.
Oh, the whole resurrecting thing. Oh, I pray to God that we get answers about that next book.
Not a single whisper about Naolan other than we don't speak about him. Okay, I guess we'll talk about him next book.
How many times though did it come up that the rune on Brennan's hand? So many times in this.
Sorry, may I bring up another version why I'm mad at Violet, but ask a question. Hey, what's that about? I'm sorry, is it that hard to ask your brother? What's that about? Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, I make really insane faces.
You better be watching on YouTube because our hand motions and our face and
You're not watching on YouTube. I'm very expressive. It's worth the watch on YouTube.
we do dances and the whole thing.
There's a lot of like screeching with hand motions and things. But I think there was a lot of moments where I was kind of like, I think frustrated with Mira. She was really hard on Violet about a lot of stuff, or not showing up for her and being secretive, like on leave, not talking about her grandma. And I actually hated like she came to be the one to kind of get her out of her funk after the Endarna thing happened, but then immediately started arguing with Brennan and like left her sister in the dust and then spilled all the beans about like something she shouldn't have been talking about right then. That was not the time to tell Violet about that situation.
Come on, those 2 should have more emotional awareness.
Seriously.
You were just not sure if your sister was gonna get out of bed ever again, and you 2 are selfishly in a full fight in front of her. Come on.
How long was she like in the bath being bathed, soaking, blah, blah, blah,
I mean, it
whatever?
doesn't take that long.
She was gone for probably 15, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know. And they were still fighting when she got out. Oh my gosh. You guys, let it go. Also, you're in the next room from her. If you're like yelling about things, she might hear it. Like, so that kind of pissed me off. So I think when that was the last thing about Mira before she was in this near death experience, I was like, okay. And so I go into that moment like, I'm afraid for Mira. Like, obviously, I'm afraid for Mira. When she slits her throat, I was like, is this gonna be bad, bad? As soon as Brendan was there mending her and was like, I can't do it, I was like, nah, we're saving her. She's getting saved. As soon as Sloane flew ahead, I was like, Sloane's saving her.
Oh, I didn't think that.
Immediately caught up to that.
Until Dane spelled it out for me, I was like, "How does your power work in reverse?" But I get it now.
That's my thoughts on Mira.
That scene for me, other than the very first time that on page there's like Sloane looked at Dane, that scene solidified for me like, oh, these 2 have got it going on because of like how strongly she's choosing to put all her emotions on him. As soon as she's done, she's like, "Don't fucking touch me. I hate you." Like, whoa.
This is gonna hurt. And he goes, don't I know it? I was like, Dane Atos.
I don't have big feelings on Mira. I had big feelings on her and Iron Flame of the whole like let down, I'll never disappoint you again. I always love seeing their sisterly love. She was secretive. I didn't like it. I actually hope that we get more about like who is this grandma? Are we going to talk to her? Are we going to
Yeah,
see her? But no, I mean I was mad at her, whatever. I yeah, the sibling dynamic I have more questions about than I do feelings about in this book.
agreed. I will say this book put me on the I do not think Brennan's a bad person train.
Really? I am still undecided. My question isn't, is he a bad person?
I don't think he's a traitor.
No, I don't think that either. But my question is, the secrets that he keeps, are they going to put us in danger? And is it worth whatever you're not sharing with us? That's my question. And like, because of that, are we going to hate you by the end of this? Don't know.
So, Theophany.
Theophany. I call her Theo. First of all, I love that I just listened to our episode of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame because my naive little brain was like, oh, the book's called Onyx Storm. That must be about Lilith Sorrengail and Xaden, was what I had said to you, right? And then the more that you know about these books, it's like, Sarah, what are you talking about? Why is that? Why is it going to be about Lilith Sorrengail? I was like, "Holy crap." So the second that Taryn goes down, I messaged you and I'm like, hello, where did this tornado come from? There's never been a tornado in this land, and a tornado shows up and we just don't talk about it?
I did think it was her, actually.
Okay, that was the answer for me as well, but it just opened up more questions. I'm like, "No, you're the lightning wielder. So you have 2 signets? You have 3 signets? How are you getting all this power?" was my question. But the second that Violet puts it together, and then it's like, "Oh, she's the balance of my mom," and Theo's like, "No, she's the balance of me." That opened up a whole new world in my brain where I'm like, "Oh."
The whole Lynx getting shadows thing, and it's like there can't be 2 shadow people. Yikes.
That was a huge moment in, like, 2 sentences.
Huge.
That is something in the book that keeps me up at night where I'm like, "What does this mean? Xaden's never coming back."
None of them processed that. They were all like, that's scary. I wonder what that means. Moving on. I'm like, oh.
So that was just I just loved how Lilith was still tied into the story, and I love that it was kind of like Violet figuring out like her mom was the biggest baddest that she knew until Xaden. And so it was more character development for Violet being like, yeah, I can face down my mother right now and win or
I loved that we got so much of correspondence, unsent correspondence, correspondence sent from Lilith to whoever. We got such a peek into her soul in the epilogues, which I loved. I think I needed those portions to help understand her more. And, I'm kind of like Dane, where I was furious with her first book. Second book, she had a redemption arc, but I was still mad at her. And this book, I understand her.
that just made me wonder if we're gonna see Dane's dad die.
God, I hope so. He fucking sucks.
Yeah, I forgot that he was still alive, actually. Can we talk about something?
What, Pancheck?
Yes! I just remembered this. Honestly, like, it's not in any note. I didn't even talk to you about it, but that just came back to my brain.
Is he Venin? Is he not? Was he a new Venin? Was he an old Venin? Was he just working with the Venins? What? And is Atos as well?
I think Atos is Venom.
I don't think Atos is Venin. I think he works with the Venin. Because you would know, based on their eyes, if Xaden, like, pulls that easy, the second time he pulls for real, it's like veins down his eyes. I think they aren't, but I think they work with them.
That was wild. Are we gonna talk about this Xaden brother thing in next episode? Because I wanna know who you think it is.
My gut in the moment was Bodhi.
Same. Same, same. That was my gut reaction. And then I thought, oh, they kind of just said that it was Jack Barlow because Venom think they're all family. And I was like, I don't really like that answer, so I kind of brushed it off. And then I saw somebody online say that it's Liam. But it's
No,
because of the sentence that in Zayden's point of view, he says he's supposed to be dead. It can't be my brother, he's supposed to be dead.
I don't think it's Liam. I
You can't change a perfect character like that.
think there is confirmed from Rebecca, Liam is dead. He is not coming back.
Okay, so we can put that off. I mean, you and I both predicted that somebody else that we knew and loved in this book was going to be Venom. We didn't get any confirmation.
I don't think they were yet, if that's what you're saying, Bodhi or Garrick. I don't think they were yet. I think they became it in that last battle.
So I don't think it's going to be Garrick because Garrick was saving Imogen. She probably knew his whereabouts shortly after.
Somebody said to me, there was a comment, and I'll pull it. Sorry, I don't have it in front of me. Something about how much flying he did, that it was unrealistic for what he would have been able to do. Like how much distance wielding he did, he couldn't
He would
have
be
done
close to burnout.
if he wasn't pulling from the source. And he's missing. He's missing and Bodhi's missing. Those are the two people that would do what for Xaden? Literally anything.
That's my thing is I was like, I don't know that they're Venom, but I definitely think that when posed with the question, I'm not going back to Arisha, I'm going to go do this to protect Violet for her future. You guys want to come or are you going to go back? I believe that they both would have been like, we're with you till we die.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the book ends with Violet finding out that she's married to Xaden. And much, much earlier, when we first notice the Blade of Tyrandor, way back when he first gets it, and it's like in her room in Beskaya, there's a stone missing. He has been planning this for a very long time. He was planning the situation.
You get hints of it all the book, and I love the Easter eggs of that. I love every time after all the hints, you have the moment where she's like, are you planning your demise? And he won't answer. And then finally he's like, yes, I am. Of course I am. But before all that, you have all of his hints of like, would you want to be the leader? You'd be a good leader. You would this, you would that. We're not boyfriend girlfriend. Like that title's too small for us.
Well, she gets all this hope because when she comes back to Erasia and Brennan's like, I can't mend him, right? And he's been doing this, he's been doing that. We tried this, we tried that, we tried this, we tried that. He's like, I can't figure out how to get him back to normal. Like, he's a willing participant and I can't make him not Venom anymore. She's like, oh, that's hope. He wants to change. And I think they did that and Xaden went, there's no hope. I have to figure out a plan B.
This is my last straw. Okay, initiating new plan.
Yeah, or he might have already started the new plan anyway. I think that moment for him was like, I got to start planning how I'm going to get out of here because I can't do this, and I need Violet to be safe and in power. And so I
Yep.
think about this whole book, how much training he did for her to be in that seat, for her to be in a powerful seat. Him telling her in the aisles, you have to be a leader. You have to handle this. This is my consort. This is my person. She's saying that she's speaking for this person. She speaks for us. She speaks for Tyrandor. He is preparing her without her knowing that she's going to be the Duchess of Tyrandor and will be running this province. And I think that's insane. That whole portion of that plotting, it still shocked me in the end. I didn't really pick up on it like Violet didn't, like, the whole time, but looking back on the whole book, I'm like, whoa, it was there the whole time. I think I was picking up on little moments here and there, but I was like, I don't know what that means, or I wonder if that means something for this book. Like, I think there's those things that kind of happen as you go, but they don't mean anything to you in the moment, so it's hard to be putting it together along the way.
Talking about all that makes me wanna do a reread immediately. Just like all those Easter eggs. Holy crap, we would have a different experience.
I agree.
I think we end there for now and we say come back for part 2, which is gonna be Onyx Storm voice memo recap, because there's just no way we can keep saying all of our thoughts and predictions about this book.
We've only talked about predictions that have come up based on our thoughts in here. We haven't talked about crazy fan theories. We haven't talked about our actual predictions for next book, and we haven't talked about our ratings. So if you are looking, well, I guess Sarah mentioned her rating at some point, but if you if you are going to come back, please come back for episode 2 of Onyx Storm. If you're like us, we can't get enough of talking about this book. We also can't get enough content about this book. Follow us on all the things, but come back for next book or next, sorry, I keep saying that. Come back for next episode to hear that part.
There's something that we didn't cover and you're like, how could they not have thought of this or this theory or your favorite moment? Just DM us. Get on our Instagram and DM us. We love to continue these conversations. It's just not freaking possible to share everything on here.
Absolutely. Those are my thoughts. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We also want to be your long distance book bestie. You can find this podcast on all your favorite listening platforms. You can watch us on YouTube at Those Are My Thoughts Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, My Thoughts Pod, on TikTok, mythoughts.pod.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and book recommendations. Email us at thosearemythoughtspod@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. We love you. See you next time. Bye.